up, guys? Welcome back to the Smite Pro League.
Is this guy serious?
Yeah, he was actually yelling. He's like, make sure to take it because Brandon's slow. And then I took it. Welcome, though.
No. What does F. have this mic on?
I don't. Something really high.
Jeez.
He was complaining about it earlier, too.
Who was, you?
No, him. Anyways.
When he finds that knob that lowers the volume, he's going to be excited.
Denial versus Enemy. Both of these teams are actually in control of their own destiny here today. Denial, if they win out, they make it to LAN. If Enemy win out, they avoid relegations.
Fair enough. Okay.
Both don't have a good time, though, as Denial has to face AFK and Cloud9.
Yeah, their road is not very easy.
No.
Enemy at this point, not in a great spot either.
Are you out of breath?
A little bit. I had to run.
It was like 10 feet.
But I ran there.
Let's take a look at the North American standings, though, and see who's on top. We already know, though. It is Cloud9 sitting at 9-1, I believe, after this week.
To me, I think if Cloud9, if this is their week, they're going to lose a game. This might be the week the Enemy can take one.
Okay, I could see that as well. Denial, though, they're sitting. Their record right now is 5-3. They're sitting at the middle of the pack. They're in third place. They're tied with Team Solo Mid, and they actually face them at the end of the season. That's going to be the last match. That's likely, depending on how next week goes versus AFK, going to be a LAN-deciding matchup.
That's fair. TSM has a very strong roster, a very long pedigree. Denial really coming into themselves this season, grouping up with this comp. It's going to come down to this game for me is all about Shing. Right,
Okay.
Flying or Nah, new to the team, going to have a little bit of trouble here to go up against this veteran player. We're taking a look right here. Everyone has played so far except for two teams. Cloud9 still reigning champs here. AFK probably would be 9-1 as well if someone would buy them an alarm clock.
Was that Allied?
Allied.
He slept a little bit too long, so he slept in. But Cloud9 and AFK looking good for LAN.
The day of my wedding, Allied, or a couple days before, Allied is messaging Kelsey saying, can I play at the venue? Can I play at the hotel? Like bothering her about this, and she's like super stressed about the wedding. And then next week, misses a game because he oversleeps. And she's like, he's bothering me on the week of my wedding, and then he misses a game? She's like, I'm going to go play Smite. I'll see you later.
Bye, have fun. You could calm down in Japan.
Yeah.
So, I really am interested to see how Denial has grown, because Enemy hasn't found a win yet. They are obviously the weakest team in North America right now, and Denial has had the weaker schedule, and I've talked about this a lot in these matches around this week 4 and week 5 is how clean they win, if they can win, right? When Denial, if Denial, beats Enemy here, it needs to be clean. They can't allow any room for the other team to look strong. You take a look, London Conspiracy, they closed out against Upcoming Stars in that last matchup. That's what Denial needs to do here. If it's a back and forth game, it looks bad for them going into the toughest part of their schedule, taking on AFK and TSM.
Right, this needs to be 30 minutes total game time, period.
Maybe not total.
Total game time.
You want 15 minutes?
P's and B's.
I'm not going to say, I can't do it.
P's and B's,
P's
man.
and B's just do not feel good.
How about enemies?
Enemies? Now you're just making bad puns. You sound like F.
Ooh, all right. Well, that's not. We don't got to do all that. Awesome to the max, Flying Jerby, Chris Pocket, and Vedium.
Yes, I forgot to say that.
I'm
Chris
sorry?
Pocket,
it's supposed to say Maddie Pocket.
No,
it's the wrong pocket.
They've switched the pockets. Instead of Maddie, it's going to be Chris playing for Enemy this week.
One time I used to put my phone in my other pocket, and I couldn't stand. I had to switch back. I wonder if that'll be the case here.
Who knows? But we see I was going to make a hot pocket. I'm not even going to try. Ban's coming out. Jablanque and Ares taken out by Enemy. Cirquette taken out by Denial. And Sylvanas, no surprise.
Yeah, ban phase was pretty normal here. Aside from Jablanque, not a very common ban, although it's a ban that should be considering how well he's been doing this split. Neith gets locked in first. Bologna still on the table, most notably.
Let's see if they elect to go that, and it's going to be a Geb early on and a Janus as well. So
this is not the same Denial from the beginning.
Yeah, but we've said that the past 2 weeks. They've really adapted their playstyle to be more late game oriented, to pick these gods that, while they may do good early, they always fall off. Now they play for the late game.
In the beginning, it was all, we're going to invade and we're going to try to do all these things to put ourselves ahead because they couldn't play from behind.
Yeah.
Every time they were behind, that was the game. Now, their defense has gotten a lot better. They know how to control towers better when they're getting sieged, and their early game pressure has been maybe a little bit more relaxed in favor of the mid game. Janus and Geb, two gods that will really utilize that strategy a lot better. Bottom side, Medusa and Athena get locked in, so right away, Enemy looking for that double hunter.
Yeah, and this is something that Enemy has I think wants to run Neith mid or Neith solo. Very strong right now. It allows you to be a part in the mid lane. It's just her base damage is so strong that no mage can really compete with her. While she doesn't have the AoE, the giant AoE level 5 ult, she's able to poke out the enemies and not allow them to get in a position to turn it around.
So Bologna gets banned away. They pick Thor up, which I like because normally I would like to see Bologna over Thor. I think she's just incredibly strong and has a better teamfight presence in the late game. But they have to deal with Athena's global presence, and the best way to do that is to get as much of their own as possible. Thor, with that semi-global ultimate and great amount of CC, will help Janus get the big hits off, especially if they go into high-damage characters like Ullr.
Yeah, and you talk about globals, and there's really 4 globals on both of these teams right now. A lot of mobility. You have the Janus through space of time, able to get his team in and out.
Yep.
Thor also able to traverse the map. But then you have Athena and Neith on the other side, gods that can make an impact on the fights from all the way across the map.
I'm actually pretty surprised to see Batz locked in here. One of my favorite gods, hands down. But for flying or not, to pick this god into Shing's Thor, a lack of mobility might hurt him. Shing is known as one of the most aggressive players in the world, and you know that his rotations are going to be on point with a god he is so familiar with.
They could also be counter-picking this against Baskin. Baskin has actually been playing solo lane Batz to great effect. He gets farm, he knows how to play that matchup, and he likes to rotate and make big impacts on teamfights like we're seeing a lot of solo laners do, but now he's going to grab Loki, and his Loki was the reason Denial beat Ullr earlier in the season.
I love Baskin. I will tell anyone I think he is the most underrated player right now in the SPL. Usually the builds need a little bit of work. I feel like he doesn't always play his builds to his play style, and it's kind of just like seeing what other players do and he's copying it so that he doesn't have to try to think about it too much. But his mechanics are absurd. His decision making is absurd, and he even talked about it. He plays ranked, right? Never played in any competition before, and Shing is just like, that guy has skill. Let's take him. And if anybody has that eye, it's Shing, because Shing is the guy that brought Incon into this.
Yep, and something to note here is he's going to be matching up against Awesome to the Max, and Awesome to the Max was also a solo laner that I think was pretty highly lauded on Enemy coming into the summer split. He looked very strong. He was always really the core of their team in the spring split, but not able to make anything work in the summer split. So
he wasn't on the team. He got benched.
Yeah, but he came back for summer.
I thought he got benched in summer.
Was it? I
don't remember.
Too many.
Here's a fun fact. Shing was the first player to pick Thor in a competitive tournament. Subsequently, also the first person to lose with him.
Yep, mace to the face there, just barely avoiding the Spirit Arrow. Gonna portal out, but the rest of Denial, no enemies grouped, and they're on the wrong side of the map.
Can we hover onto Loki, please? We're gonna check Loki out. And we have 5 potions coming out. So he did go all in on the potions. He's gonna have about 30 gold in hand, if memory serves. Or 20 gold, very small amount. So it's going to take a little bit longer to get those, to get the Heartseeker and the teleport finished. So you're looking for about 850 gold total above the 1500 mark. So it might be a bit before we see him go back.
And he didn't go hog, so we know Baskin, and he's going to be buying this teleport to tower. He loves this item. He gets it very early. He actually he will max that active out before he gets beads if he knows he can play safe against a matchup. Now, he's against Hades, so early on, he's going to be pressured out. He is not going to be using his ult for anything offensive. It's going to be purely defensive to get out of Pillar of Agony.
So they're going to do triple camp start on the bottom here. In fact, they're going to do it on both sides. I'm a big fan of this, too, if you have the damage for it. We're going to see how long it takes them to clear. Remember, the bottom side actually has 5 extra steps to take before they will actually get into the mid lane. With that, it's going to be up to Janus to push this into the tower as fast as possible and control Jerby's pressure. Now, Jerby has lost a creep, 2 creeps, actually. Oh, that's going to hurt.
No, but he also got the back camps. I think it evens it out. He's already hit level 2 off of 1 creep. Normally, he has to full clear the wave to hit that.
I think he only missed 1.
Okay, he was just barely in range for
that 80-foot increase that we did recently, I think, was enough.
I love it. Short pause coming out here. So we're going to see in the mid a Janus versus Neith matchup. And early on, Neith is just going to control this lane. It takes a little bit for Janus to get online. Unstable Vortex, I think he needs to be a level 8 before he can full clear the wave.
Right, but I mean, there's not going to be too much pressure here. I mean, they can try to kill him, but if he properly utilizes his portal and spaces himself appropriately, he shouldn't have too much trouble keeping himself safe in the lane. But man, that clear.
Yeah, that's balanced. He's just going to full clear it. And he is going Heartseeker, so Heartseeker being very prevalent right now.
I'm actually surprised to see him go Bluestone from the mid lane.
I'm not.
When I play the mid lane, I usually play it as almost like a joust, where you can go back almost after every wave and heal your mana up.
Okay, but the thing is, with Neith, her mana cost, she double,
offsets.
It takes a while to get online. She's using her backflip to clear additionally. It's not just auto attack and then Spirit Arrow. She's using her backflip as well to put the pressure onto Mace so they can steal these back. So she needs the extra mana to get through that.
Well, it's working out. The early rotation, flying or not, actually getting the better of Xing here. As Xing takes an extra wave from the solo laner. A little bit curious to me, considering that Loki doesn't need to clear as much as Janus would, and the fact that Loki needs the extra gold. So Xing choosing to, I guess, favor the experience in the mid lane for now.
He's rotating back to the mid lane, but we already see a full clear coming up from enemy, and they're winning the experience battle here early on, and the gold battle. That's about a 500 gold lead for enemy already.
They should have it, though. I mean, they have the superior clear in every lane, like plain and simple, right? They have Medusa going up against Ullr, right, with the Athena kicker over the Geb. They have Janus trying to fight into a Neith who's full clearing at level 2. They have Hunbots going up, Thor pretty much even, but then Hades versus Loki, Hades just laughs at clear. That's what Hades does.
I mean, he's going to be awesome to the max, is going to be forcing Baskin to lose a lot early. Flying or not, though, he's level 5. He's looking for Mace to the face. Let's see if they can combo this out.
Jerby going to need to ult. Oh, hello? Hello?
I guess they didn't want to go on it. I think Mace recognized it in time, and they elected not to try and force that fight. One thing, though, is that they have forced Xing back. He has no mana. He's not level 5, and mid-camps are up. What's he going to be able to do?
I mean, nothing. Left side looks like they're going to go to enemy. They're playing the early game perfectly. Right side, I would expect that Flying or Null is going to take these without any trouble. First two mid-camps should go to enemy without any trouble whatsoever.
Yep, Vedium and Chris Pocket are going to hit 5 off that, and Jerby's actually rotating left. There's no wards on this. This could catch Denial by surprise.
I don't know. Ullr actually one of the easier ones to gank too, especially at this level before he'll have a ton of movement speed. Taunt's gonna be good. What you looking at, son? Inside, goodbye. No, he's alive. Oh, but Vicium finds a beautiful acid spray, hitting Geb for the hit, actually.
Flying or Naw's there too. He could probably dive this, but he's gonna elect to play it safe, go back. Diving a tower at 3 minutes is always a little bit risky, especially with Thor level 5. He didn't have vision on him.
Can we check Chris Pocket here? Does he have the Hand of the Gods? No. Okay, it is on cooldown.
Yes.
But Flying or Not did. I'm very surprised with that 4-man grouping and the 2-man pressure that they didn't go for the gold.
It's the globals, right? They didn't know where Xing was at the time. He was actually over in his own jungle.
And Mace can bring the team in very quickly.
So we're going to see enemy, they're going to take first blood and looking very strong. They had already had the gold lead with their superior push, and now that they've taken first blood, they've extended that lead to about 1,500. That's a lot of out farming.
Plus, you have to consider the fact that their team is made for this, right? So it's going to be hard for Denial to work their way back in at this stage. They're going to need to delay about 15 minutes or so to where they'll really be playing at a level at which they will have the advantage. Talking about when Loki starts getting that penetration online and when Thor really starts to get those sick rotations into Janus, who's doing a ton. Right? For right now, they're looking at a small amount of items, and Loki's just looking to get those stacks online.
Flying or Not actually used his hog on that speed buff, so if he elects to try and steal this, he doesn't have that available. Xing is in the air.
They got it. And Xing strangely missing both there as an Athena ult comes through as well. They have a 3v2 advantage, they have a 3v4 disadvantage as a big rotation comes out. Cardinal Sin on both sides as 4-man rotations to solo lane. No Gold Fury pressure whatsoever.
But they did force out Athena ult and Flying or Naw's Fear No Evil. That's very important here. It's going to be a lot weaker. They're not going to have the pressure on any lane except maybe duo lane with Vedium's comboing with Jerby's ult.
Right there. Baskin had been sitting at 9 stacks for over a minute. He finally gets back to the lane to get some himself, getting the entire wave safely, putting himself at 15. Decent amount of damage, but unfortunately for him, he's not going to have any kill potential on Hades. Not yet.
Never, and that's what I was saying earlier.
Oh, wow, never, okay.
I mean, unless the Hades messes up, there is nothing that Baskin's going to be able to do.
I agree.
Awesome to the max. He's probably going to be building Tanky 2 after he finishes off. Yeah, I think we're likely to see
It's Warlocks.
Warlocks or
Breastplate?
Breastplate. Warlock's probably first, though.
Warlock's probably first.
If he's waiting this long, can we take a look at Golden Hand, actually?
He has 2,100.
You were wrong.
Get out of here! I was wrong!
It was 2098. You were 2 gold off.
Yeah, he's in a good spot. Needs about 500 more gold. Going to be a little bit awkward right now, considering how long he's been in lane, but He still has 4 health potions and 2 multipots. So let's say 15 health per second swing when he decides to activate both, on top of the fact that he's also... flying
3 seconds on Fear No Evil.
No, not going to get it.
Gonna back off there. Shing gonna teleport out. Slow waiting game. I'd really like to see enemies trying to find the kills, but I want to give credit to Denial here. They're playing super defensive and they're rotating when they need to. We saw enemy 3-man rotate on right, but here comes the taunt. Chris Pocket thinking better of it.
Yeah, and rightfully so. One more step out of position, and Shadowq would have hit him with a knock-up. Mace would have coupled it into the portal. Tower shots would have started pouring in. Tectonic Rift was there into the Cataclysm. They had the CC chain to take that kill back, and he was very smart to abandon the cause.
Gold Fury being circled by Denial. They recognize that all of enemy went to do their back harpies, but they think better of it and just continued stalemate. I think this is in Denial's favor.
Oh, check this out. Lots of damage coming through. Fear No Evil as well as they turn all of their ults onto Shadowq. One more hit will do it if they can find it, but it doesn't look like they can. Shing putting himself on the front line will force them back and allow them just a little bit more space. No Gold Fury pressure here. I don't think they have the health to really warrant it at this stage.
Yep, and once again, enemy dumps a lot of ults trying to pick up a kill. This time it's not going to work, and that means they're going to be slowed down for about another 90 seconds for Jerby's ult to come up and Flying or Naz. Without Flying or Naz ult, it's very hard for them to team fight into a Gebbin Thor.
I like how all 3 lanes, by the way, from enemy have like the most absurd clear in the game.
They really do.
They have the best Hunter clear, the best Hunter clear again, and then Hades.
I mean, Hades, he just beats everyone or stalemates them. Nothing too crazy.
Well, not anymore. Baskin's level 9 here, so he'll have a lot more control over that. Doesn't really need to worry about it. In fact, can we take a look at what Loki is leveling?
It's going to be his decoy.
Right, but did he go 4 or 5?
He's at 4 right now, so...
He stayed 4.
So he's going to stay... It's going to be full clear, but he will have to auto-attack the bigger creeps.
I don't know if it'll clear the melees outright at... No, his stacks are full now.
Once
he
gets full stacks.
Yeah, it should do it. And now he has boots as well. Another 30 damage increase, putting Loki's damage up very, very high. At this point, this is where we should see Baskin start to rotate. But look at this. He opted for level 2 beads instead of getting a level of teleport.
I do like it. Normally he goes teleport and maxes it out, but you have to think on who he's against. He's against a Batz, an Athena, and coming out a Hades in lane.
It's true.
1 silence, 1 taunt, and even Jerby, right? World Weaver across the map, he can get stunned out. There's too much to combo.
Hell, even the root could be the death.
He needs beads against every single god he's facing. He needs beads against.
Baskin rotating in here. It looks like Red was able to get their speed buff this time. Blue will go safely as well, but there's looks like a 3-man rotation over here, and no pressure to the Gold Fury. I guess enemy doesn't spot it. By the way, it always catches me off guard how fast she can backpedal. It's actually very scary.
Yeah, I mean, you're just not used to it.
It's my favorite passive in the game by a mile. She actually doesn't suffer a movement penalty for strafing and only suffers a 25% penalty for backpedaling, as opposed to the ridiculous penalties that other gods get for doing either.
We're going to see 2 men on left, but Jerby is going to try and contest this with Awesome to the max. They're going to clear out the ward there, and Awesome's dashing in.
Yeah, he doesn't do a lot of damage, though. Beautiful shield coming out. Shing staying safe as well. Mid lane, Flying or Nah rotates over. It looks like that's going to be a split on the camps. Right side go to red, left side go to blue.
Slowed down pace continually. We're seeing Denial rotate 3 and 4 men as a team, but they're continuing to lose gold. It's not efficient splitting right now, but it's what they need to do against such an early aggressive enemy team comp.
Oh, excuse me? All right. So this just in, we're seeing a first game win, AFK over INTZ. AFK fans, I'm sure, very excited. Brazil trying to hold their own. And I love the INTZ lineup. For those of you who don't know, it is the We Love Bacon lineup, but without the people they had to sub in at Worlds because of the visa issues. So people like P-Bay. P-Bay was like my favorite person from their relegations, and he did not get to make it to Worlds.
Funny enough, Cyclone Spin actually got first blooded in that match.
After talking all that doo-doo, too.
Group up by enemy. They're going to start up Gold Fury. It's low. Blinking by Shadowq. 2-man Cataclysm.
He got it.
And he's going to steal it.
Medusa very, very late on that ultimate. Shadowq takes advantage of it perfectly, stealing it away, but they're not done. Baskin actually finding a kill. Shing in the back line is going to help him find another. Very dangerous to see Loki just got a Gold Fury and a double kill.
Yeah, we're going to see continued aggression. Shing going to try and find Awesome. Awesome, no boots, but Denial's going to think better of it. Hades a little bit too tanky, and enemy Esports, they didn't know what they wanted. They got Gold Fury so low, but I think they wanted to bait it, but then it got so low they couldn't decide what they wanted to do. You saw most of the team back off, but Shadowq coming in. Perfect blink, perfect knock-up and was able to secure that Gold Fury away from Chris Pocket.
For me, Vicium needed to ult a little bit sooner. It is the best counter objective in the game. There's no way to advance at an objective because you have to look at it. As long as your team is positioned correctly, the stun is guaranteed to go off. ShadowQ would have had to use Cataclysm in effect just for the CC immunity to stop himself from getting stunned out. And unfortunately, Vicium, a little bit late on the trigger there, a little bit too close, gets hit by some of the CC. ShadowQ takes advantage of his positioning, finds not only the steal, but the aggression and afterwards, allowing Shane to get to the back line, and then Loki, just, oh god, Loki.
Yeah, and Loki, with that extra gold that he got from both the assist, the kills, and the Gold Fury, now he has maxed out teleport. He's looking, Baskin's in a good spot right now. He's level 14 at 11 minutes into the game. He's full clearing the wave, and
It's 11:58, Kevin.
I rounded. In the opposite direction.
12 minutes in here, Denial looking much stronger than they did, and this is what we're talking about. It was going to take them, 15 minutes or so to get into this game. They did it in only 11, and they did it with proper communication.
It was actually, no, because that happened earlier. It was 11. Dang it! Group up here by enemy on these left camps. They're actually splitting their team, and Denial could full commit to one side if they elect to do so, but enemy has vision
They
on
should
both of them.
rush Jerby right down, right now. There's no way Jerby can escape, even with the beats one.
He wants to fight.
Yeah, but
Shing's in the air.
Very late. They're going to look for Jerb here. He already jumped. No, they're going to turn their sights to Pocket. The left side will go to blue, but unfortunately they dropped the support for it. And level 11 Athena is going to take a pretty long respawn timer.
And that's exactly what they wanted to do. You saw ShadowQ just wait around the corner, but Awesome's in.
Shing going to get out, though. Very strange that Awesome to the Max didn't immediately ult to try to lock ShadowQ down.
Baskin's going to rotate as well here.
Mace getting over-aggressive.
Jerby could be in a lot of trouble. There's backflip. Shing taking a lot of health, and Awesome to the Max is just keeping Denial at bay.
Jerby actually threads the needle on the Unstable Vortex and then dodges the first hit of the Mjolnir's attunement and backflips over the second one. Very fancy. Very ninja-esque.
This looks like a strong Jerby as Shing's going to barely secure a speed buff, and Awesome to the Max is continuing to put the pressure on them. 1v4, actually.
Jerby actually leading in gold despite the fact that Mace has a much larger pool here of 3 assists compared to 1 without the death and the Gold Fury.
Missed timing there. Chris Pocket's ult. Awesome to the Max actually dashes a tad too late, and Chris Pocket lands where he came from instead of where he dashed to.
Look at this, Shing forced to jump away. He does get his speed buff, but once again the blue has been stolen. Not a huge win there as Loki doesn't desperately need that mana, although he is getting pretty low right now. He does have a teleport, so he'll be able to get back to lane before that tower goes down.
Enemy continuing to be the aggressors, even though they lost gold, even though they're down 3 kills. Enemy understands that their team comp is stronger right now. Baskin has invested 1,800 gold into actives, and with that, he is not as strong as he would normally be at this stage of the game.
Also, Transcendence before Jotuns is a rather curious pickup here, considering Transcendence going to give him a decent amount more power, but unfortunately not going to give him any penetration and no cooldown reduction, which is one of Loki's strongest stats.
And I believe the max works out, at least on Hunters, to where it's not stronger on Hunters. He's 100% going this for the mana gain, for the MP5 gain. He wants to stay in lane longer than he normally would be able to.
Baskin trying to make something happen. Awesome to the Max finds himself back at full health.
Hey,
again.
Hades, fun. Shing looking for a gank in left lane.
It is fun. Have you ever just stood in front of someone taking 6 creeps at half health and then you're full health again?
I tried to deal with a Hades and a casual, and I just like, I mean, I'm not going to die to him, but man, this is annoying.
You'll never kill him.
Shing has really been looking for kills. You see on his positioning in the map, he's standing not on wards, he's standing, but enemies recognizing that where Shing is. Great callouts coming from them.
I'm very surprised to see Flying and not have a 0-0-0 slash line right now. Has somehow not been a part of any kills whatsoever. Left side, they're looking for an invasion here. It looks like Chris Pocket recognizes what's going on. Everyone should be walking on top of that ward there. I'm sure that they're spotted, and it looks like they're going to choose something else. As you see Mace just like, forget it, I'm going to go farm.
Yeah, and they've been trying the same positioning gank where Geb is around the one corner trying to blink in, and they're still trying it. They want to catch Chris Pocket out. Mace to the face is getting ready to ult. The second Shadow Cube blinks in, he knows Cataclysm is following up, and Mace will ult in. Xing will ult in as well. Xing's in the air.
Yeah, Xing's going for it. There's the Cataclysm through space and top. Wow, you're like a prophet. They're going right for it. Flying or not, trying to turn this one around, but the Geb Shield's going to keep Xing safe in the back line. Huge damage coming out, and even though he's in the air, flying or not, chooses the nah as he slams into the ground for another failure.
Mace finds a snipe, and now Vedium, he's getting low as well. Bronx is going to take him out. Awesome to the max is 1v4. He's got the silence, but can't get the detonate blight in. Bronx Bombers with the double kill. Denial takes that clean, and now they're going to take the Gold Fury.
With that, Denial finding themselves in a great spot here in the mid-game. Chris Pocket in no way will be able to utilize his incredible movement speed as Athena to be able to get there in time. Denial finds a huge victory and now extends their lead deeply to 3,600 gold.
The reason this is working right now is Denial's sentry warding. You take a look at the map, especially these mid-camps corners. They only have sentries. They don't have any normal wards on the map. All the normal wards are by enemy. So what they do is they sentry these spots around the mid-carpies, and then they combo. They have Geb wait there. He blinks in. Then Mace blinks in. And then Xing ults in. And there's really nothing that Chris Pocket or the rest of the team can do at that point unless they're countering these sentries themselves.
You know, we've been talking so much about Baskin and Xing and Shadow and Mace. We're not talking at all about Bronx Bombers doing a 3-1-2 in the duo lane right now.
And really,
and it's against a kill lane.
It is against a kill lane. And last week, they actually had Mark sub in, and he's sitting like first for KDA right now because he didn't die and got like 50 kills. But
the top two are actually subs.
Kabam and God, Barracuda needs to stop dying anymore. But Derby getting pretty low as the double tap up. Mace?
No.
Okay.
Or maybe, but Xing didn't choose to do it. Either way, Derby barely escapes.
But no, they said Bronx had been carrying them the past couple games, and even though Mark did really well, Bronx is their hunter,
sure.
And he's proving it.
I mean, yeah, he's doing really well. I mean, you can't argue with that. Although, Baskin is sitting 3-0-4 right now. His rotations have been beautiful. And I mean, if you're going to pick someone to deal with Hades, Loki, for me, would always be the go-to. Always.
It's just super safe, and he's not going to... You use the Loki to take out these hunters, because Loki is very good against hunters if he can burst them in time.
He's the best counter.
Yes, Xing in the air, though.
Yeah, Awesome. Oh, Awesome's going to read it. Xing, again, off the mark. Will send some damage, but Awesome to the max did not take nearly enough of his health pool.
You see that? It just tickled him.
He's going to heal it back sixfold.
And he's just like, oh, is that a fly, Xing?
I have 89 stacks on my my Warlock sash here. That was cute.
At 18 minutes.
Even if Xing hit that ult and then Loki followed up.
There was no way they were killing him.
Both of them probably would have wound up dead. If they just grouped up, let him heal.
Flying, gonna get hit by the double tap. Xing's gonna teleport in, but immediately silenced out. Baskin going deep. Fear no evil wall.
He missed the shot. He turns it around, but it will not be enough to stay alive. He missed the initial auto attack. Baskin does beads and pick it up, but the kill was dropped before. He wouldn't have died, just slightly out. It looked like he was 13 or 14 instead of that 12 feet that he needed to be.
Yeah, and two rotations coming out. Jerby and Chris Pocket immediately recognizing the gank and getting their ults off, able to find that return kill. Nice job by enemy, and really killing that Loki is very important right now, who's trying to stack Heartseeker.
That was a huge win.
Yeah, he's trying to stack Transcendence, and they have to stack on his Heartseeker.
That's right. He's down to 25 now, plus had a much longer respawn timer. You're going to see him. He's not up for 20. Flying's up in 4. There is an 8-level difference, though, and while that is a win, obviously not going to be nearly enough to shrink the lead.
The lead still sits at about 4,000 as well, and really it's this 6,500 experience. You look at the levels across the board, Flying and all, 2 down.
6 experience lead.
Please don't do that.
Enhanced Santans.
2 levels on the Hunter, I think, is important, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Can we take a look
just
at items? Okay, yeah, it's an Executioner and a Sprint 3 over Vedium, who has only Beads 1 right now. No Executioner finished.
Oh, what was that?
He didn't have Executioner finished when I said it.
I don't know, man.
That's all that matters.
I don't know. 11:58. What was that? Both have Executioner now, but yeah, still a massive advantage. Ullr going to have a little bit better damage as long as he can avoid one of the Viper shots and land all of his abilities.
Yep.
But he must avoid one.
Yep. Enemy now, they're kind of the ones on their heels. Even when they were behind early game, they were still being the aggressors. Now we're seeing Xing Mace to the face, and Shadow Q. They're the ones being the aggressors, and Xing is always trying to double tap people. That's what's really important and very strong about Thor is his poke ability. Before the fight even starts, you're seeing him throw out the wall, throw out the Mjolnirs, and always poking these squishy players too low.
Baskin right there, a little bit off the mark there on the decoy. One of the archers will make it through, but I think Awesome back, so it'll be a clean pickup either way. It was a very small advantage that he could have pressed Awesome to the max, and with that, might have put himself at a disadvantage if he had stayed in lane for too long. But he backs, finishes up the breastplate, has full teleport just like his opponent, except he is sitting on Hand of the Gods as opposed to Beats.
Look at these sentries continue to come out from Denial. They're being very aggressive with them in their placement, and they actually just sentried one out there. They countered it themselves, but Denial, they know they're the aggressors. They know they hold the lead, and with Gold Fury spawning in 6 seconds, we're going to probably see them try the same combo again, where Shadow Q's going to sit around a corner where he has the sentry and look for an engage.
Jerby and Chris Pocket taking a lot of damage there from Mace. Jerby healing all of it up, though, immediately between Unravel and just some extra healing.
We're going to see Baskin here, already level 20 at 21 minutes. He can't fight Awesome to the max, but he's getting so farmed, and Jotuns is almost online as well.
Trying to push Chris Pocket out here. Places a ward down. Great pressure from Mace to push Chris back just to get the ward where he needed it. Bronx Bomber placing down a sentry over on the left side to clear up some of the vision as well. As Flying or Not takes a huge combo. Oh my god.
Beats forced and he's half-life. How is it even going to get in there to use Fear No Evil on this fight?
That's the third time that he's been half-life.
Grouping up. Denial's going to start it. Blink in. Two-man taunt. Xing's in the air, though. They're looking to turn it with Mace to the face through space and time.
Medusa
Baskin's going to take out Jerby.
Oh, look at this. Flying or Not is already gone. VDM getting pushed out. No Medusa ult to keep him. He actually winds up hitting Bronx Bombers and tries to box it out. And, oh, man, I don't know about that. Ultimate Pillar of Agony only going to find one person. Awesome trying to get away, but he will not be able to. No way. How? Gone.
Chris Pocket going to taunt out no one. 4 for 0, though.
Is that the panic?
He thought Xing was going to teleport in behind him. He was prepping it.
The panic?
They don't even care about Gold Fury, though. Look at this. Xing is actually going to force Chris Pocket to back or look to kill him while the rest of the team goes on Fire Giant.
Chris has got to let this go. He can't even decide to try to... By the time he gets it, it's going to be gone, and then he could get baited. No CC reduction. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Loki does have it. How long until the ult comes up? No, not going to be necessary. Yeah. Chris Pocket is heading back to the base. He took a lot of time there. One of the biggest things that you can do in this game that's going to put you behind is waffle. Either go back or go in. You don't have other choices.
You need to make a choice as 5 and decide, and Enemy Esports not deciding as a team in time. Gold Fury going to be taken as well. Can we take a look at gold in hand with this? Everyone at least 1,000. We see 3 players at 1,700 gold. So Denial going to be backing, finishing off their actives and starting up some high damage items.
Mace about 100 gold away from finishing up that Obsidian Shard. Actually pretty surprising to me that he didn't sell the Vamp Shroud there.
Look at the damage reduction coming out from Thor. Look at what he's building. He's built Witchblade, and now he's working into Midgardian.
Yeah, absolutely. They have 2 hunters. Why wouldn't he? Remember, these items do stack, meaning the attack speed slows, the damage reduction that they'll gain, the movement speed slows. All of these will stack on top of each other. Couple that with the fact that Loki is in there picking off the hunters, there is just no chance that either Jerby or Vicium is going to have a way to get to the back line as a hunter, even with those sprints online.
I think what's most important here is that Xing is the initiator now. Shadow Q is going to be playing peel for Mace to the face and for Bronx Bombers. Baskin, he can peel for himself. Loki has so much with his invisibility, his movement speed, and his ult that he can get away on his own. But Shadow Q is going to be able to protect Mace to the face, and that's the most important thing, is keeping Mace alive. The longer he's in the fight, the more of an impact he makes, being able to throw out those unstable vortexes.
Oh, look at this. In the back line, Cataclysm going to hit 3 as Chris Pock actually finds a big swing as well, but no follow-up. Fear No Evil on cooldown, and I think that was a shell that was just used off the mark.
Also into the max, could be in trouble. Bronx was debating going on that, but thinks better of himself. Mace to the face waiting around the corner, and they're going to lose a tower, but split push Loki in full effect.
And he has teleport, which means at any point he can jump into the fight if needed, but with the Fire Giant still readily available onto 4 people over on the right side, 2 Phoenixes are going to be in a lot of trouble here. Which one are they going to try to defend?
It looks like they're giving it up, but someone has to defend this. You can't let them get it for free. Denial making them choose. Look at that. They backed off. All right. They see them rotating to try and deal with Baskin. They're going to force left.
Oh, look at this. Again, Vicium hitting a big one right
Xing
there.
is so tanky.
Yeah, Xing didn't care. He took half his life for basically the entire pressure. Awesome to the max, trying to fight inside Loki. Will he ult? The fear just saved him. If Loki would have ulted right there, he would have locked him inside the decoy for a huge amount of burst damage.
Yeah, but I mean, Awesome to the max tries and rotates to defend it, but not in time. Denial is playing this. This is just pure calculation. They're splitting both lanes. They're forcing enemy to decide. And the second, like they said, they waffle, they go in on both.
And right there, they take not only the tier 2s on all sides, but they take 2 Phoenixes as well, and they're ready to group up for the final push into the mid Phoenix.
Take a look here. Enemy, they're going to be trying to defend. They need a huge Pillar of Agony. They need to lock Denial in place, but with all this movement speed and escapability, it's going to be hard.
It's a 14,000 gold difference plus the fact, or granted, a lot of that's in their kit or in their pocket right now. Sorry,
was that Shell?
Was that Shell? Hello?
Shell was just wasted.
Yeah, big time. Right out the back, Xing coming to the back line as well. I think Xing was the one that baited that out. Take a look at this. Flying or not with a huge ult. Xing getting very low and will be picked off. The left side Phoenix still stands. They're trying for it. Awesome to the max. Pillar of Agony going to find a little bit of damage and enough to deter them off. But with that, right to the back line, Baskin takes the huge aim strike.
Flying or not, going to try and defend, but he drops through the portal. Bronx Bombers will pick up that kill. And with only Awesome to the max alive and no Pillar of Agony available, they're not going to be able to stop this.
This is a huge push right now for Denial. They shouldn't have much keep away, right? There goes most of the kit of Hades. His auto attacks aren't going to do anything. He's not going to have enough defense to tank this forever. And with that extra help from Geb, they should be able to stay alive long enough to clean this one up. Denial looking just as strong in the late game as we expected, but there were signs of life from enemy from the first 5.
There were signs of life, and it wasn't a 15-minute clean sweep, but this was a very clean game by Denial. They still keep themselves in land contention. And it looked very good. Enemy looked strong early, but they always look strong early.
Yeah, that's true.
Always. Enemy just can't translate.
That's enemy to me. All 5 of them are known as ranked players, right? And in ranked, you're going to play the early game every time, but you're not going to have that late game communication or even the mid game communication. I think that's where they started to fall apart. It was the Gold Fury. Vicium was late on the ult, was a little bit too close to the Cataclysm and the Shockwave. Shadow Q got too much out of it, and then Xing got to the back line and just was Xing.
Yeah, and Xing electing to build very tanky that game as well. Witchblade into Mid Guardian. It's so hard, and we're seeing all these Thors really build frontline now.
Mid Guardian, 3rd or 4th item on almost everyone is amazing. But let's take a look at how the game started here, and it started off pretty well for enemy Esports.
Yeah, you really just see the pure combo, and they almost dropped it onto Bronx, but we're going to see the acid spray barely pick it up on the end.
You know, it's funny because he probably thought he was out. I thought he was out.
Like, I made it, guys. Come on. Why?
Game 1 was pretty incredible, though. Denial showing a really strong mid-game. But that early game, it shows that enemy can really hold their own.
Yeah, but Denial, how well they countered it, too, was, I think, more incredible. And we've seen the same thing from Cloud9 and Titan, where when they get behind early, or they have these gods that, like Loki, like other gods that translate more late game and have a rough early game, how they play as a team and how defensive they are. And we saw that. Mace to the face, anytime that enemy tried to be aggressive, he was portaling his team through there to make sure they couldn't get anything off of it.
All right, so let's take a look at the map control here, where enemy Esports, I'm going to expect, had a lot. Yeah, they actually controlled most of the jungle. Remember, the right side blue buff was stolen a lot. I mean, they were really pushing them away. They had a decent amount of the mid camps as well. But when it came just like the last set, it comes down to 3 of 3 Gold Furies, 1 of 1 Fire Giants.
There was, 3 team fights? And every single time, Denial won like 4 kills to 1 or 4 kills to 0. They just team fought better, and that's what Denial, they're so good as a team now. Before it was, all right, we're very good at killing you as 5 at level 1 to 5. Now we're good at killing you as 5 the entire game.
For me, the absence of Matty Pocket's a big deal.
Yeah.
Chris Pocket definitely has a better early game. To me, it just seems like his rotations are a little bit faster. It seems like his early game approaches into the mid camps are a little bit better. But late game, it looks like now that they're missing a shot caller.
Yep, but
it doesn't look like their hard target switches are showing up.
But on the other end, Shadow Q, he's going to earn player of the game today. And who was it that said we never gave? Emilzy? We never get. Come on. Shadow Q got MVP. You just got to be like Shadow Q, Mealsy.
1-0-12. I mean, this is where like the game really started to turn away. They forced Derby away. They killed Chris Pocket. Look at this. Blinks in, gets ready, dodges the Spirit Arrow, forces Vishian back a little bit too late. By the time he got back into position, he had already stolen, or Shadow Q had already stolen the Gold Fury. The Medusa ult was late. He baited out everything that he could from both hunters and allowed Xing to get to the back line. That is how you play support.
Yep. Great game by them, but they have a second game here, and really, enemy needs to turn this around. They need to find a win. If they lose here, they almost lock themselves out of being able to avoid relegations.
Before we go to Game 2, we're going to take a quick break here, check in with the Brazilian tournament going on right now, the Masters tournament down there in South America, where AFK is going up against INTZ. Stick around, guys. We'll be right back.